Something happened to these cucumber plants that I did not expect to happen. The ends of the plants as they're growing, as they like got above the fence, and they keep trying to go straight up, right? They go, well, not straight up, they go up, they grow up towards the sun, and then eventually one of their tendrils will grab back onto the fence and it'll kind of pull it back down and secure it back down to the fence. But two ends of the cucumber plants, actually three, I think, well, two for sure, sort of just like broke as it was reaching up in the air. It just like broke and fell over and died, and that end died because it just like kind of completely broke in half, sort of. Well, it didn't fall off, but it just kind of broke. One of them, I think, might have got an insect inside of it, or it did the same thing. I'm really not sure. But either way, three of the cucumber plants, the ends are just dead now. So that means that that vine, that branch isn't going to grow anymore. Fortunately, I believe on all three of them there are suckers that are now growing that I haven't cut off. And obviously I'm not going to cut off, because now I'll just let the growth continue into that sucker, which works fine. But it's just interesting. I didn't expect them to do that. I thought they'd be strong enough to support themselves, but you learn something new every day, I guess. The ants are at it again with the farming of the aphids, and they even are on this okra that I just picked. Not sure how well you can see that. The okra is definitely slowing down now. This one's pretty nice though. There's still a few growing, but for the most part they have dramatically slowed down. And it's getting cooler now anyway. It's like feeling like fall, so I'm sure the okra is in major decline. Around 140 is where the compost heap number 2 has stayed all weekend, and then it's still there. So even after I flipped it, it didn't get it back up to 160. It stayed around 140, which is good. So I think that I can just leave it and let it sit. I think that as long as it doesn't hit 160, then from my understanding, all the good bacteria won't be killed off from the heat, so I don't have to turn it every other day like I was when it was at 160 or over. So that's good. And it looks like it's cooking pretty nicely. I mean, it's actually gotten really dark. It's almost the same color as compost heap number 1, which I should see what temperature it is. I think it should be under 100, which the cooler temperature, it's like 70 degrees out here right now, so that's probably also contributing to how cool these compost heaps are, even though they're not in the sun and they are shaded the whole time because of this tarp. But I think the temperature does have an effect on the compost. Yeah, so compost heap number 1 is under 100 degrees, probably around like 90. Okay, so I've created a guide using the twine from the corners of this first bed where the corners are the bamboo stakes, and then I've made the edges with the twine so that I kind of know where to start pulling up this pine straw and the marigolds, and then I can start putting in compost and mixing that into the soil that's there. That's the plan anyway. I mean, I have kind of an idea in my head of exactly how I'm going to do that, but I'll just wait until I'm actually doing it to talk about it. So what I'm basically trying to do here is loosen up the soil with this fork. Some parts of the soil, like this front part right here, it's much easier to get the fork into. A little further back, it's like really compacted and really hard. But I'm doing this so that I can kind of loosen up the soil just a bit, and then which will allow water to actually get in, and then I'll water it, and then I'm gonna mix it with some soil that I got from on the street, actually. I'll explain that later, but and then also with the compost. That's the plan. Loosening up the soil is harder than I thought it would be though, because this fork won't even go into some parts because it's so compacted and just clay. Holy crap, that worm was as big as a snake. That was the largest worm I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay, so what I just poured on here is some material that dammed up a gutter drain, like a water drain, and my mom discovered that there were worms all in it, and it was just like nice and dark and like really just worm castings, really composted. So in order to undam the drains, we just got it all and put it all in a bucket, and I have a whole bunch more in the wheelbarrow.
So I'm gonna spread this out here. There's a bunch of worms in it. That huge worm like went over to the side, but hopefully he'll come back. That was the largest worm, literally the largest worm I've ever seen in my life. It was huge. So I'm gonna spread all this out and then kind of sort of try to mix it into what's there. And then hopefully the worms will go to work. And then I'm gonna put compost in and then mix the compost in as well. And then the worms will be able to feed on that compost. And hopefully that'll be a good recipe for building good soil here before I plant stuff in it. Alright, so basically what we have here is the native soil that I tried to sort of loosen up, and then a layer of that worm casting slash compost slash whatever dirt it was that we got from the storm drains, and then my compost, a layer of like 1 or 2 inches of my compost on top of all of that. And I watered each layer. And I don't really know if I should cover this up with the straw again, or just let the compost be like the mulch. I think I might test it out, just letting the compost be the mulch, and just see how that kind of goes, how fast it dries out and everything. The plan is to do this basically all the way down this row once I have enough compost. For now, I'm going to leave those marigolds until I'm ready to continue this all the way down the row, and then eventually I'll have one full bed that has compost on top of it, which hopefully that will enrich the soil. Check out this cluster of mushrooms I just found. I literally thought that it was like leather gloves sitting over here, but it is a giant cluster of mushrooms. I was just at the thrift store and I bought this arm sprayer thing, but I have no idea if it works. Okay. So it does work. Oh, I'm holding it upside down. Oh, it's supposed to be like this. That makes more sense. Oh, there's an arrow. Okay. It does leak a little bit on the head, but really not too bad. And then you release this handle and it stops it. And then when you pull it, it turns it on, and there's a little latch that holds the handle down.
soak.
Interesting.
Alright, so at least it works. I think I could probably use it for something. I mean, this little thing is fine. I just think that having this, the reach of this might be handy for some things, and then having this be adjustable might also be handy. But I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cool. So the cabbage I've already shown has been coming up, and I'll show you how it's grown a little bit. But the onions have started to come and sprout. So yeah, lots of good amount of onions have sprouted. I'm hoping that with the addition of the compost in that mixture, they will actually grow well. Okay, so the two main things that I'm doing right now, this dog, this little chihuahua, my neighbor's chihuahua. The two main things I'm doing right now that I want to do is do this bed more, which just means really just using more of my compost to fill out this bed. And then I need to figure out how I'm going to build a new compost bin, or if I for sure want to do that. I think it's going to be better to do it just to keep things organized. But I mean, I could just let this pile sit out here, or move it over here. I could sit it right here and just let it be like an outside pile, but I don't know.